Okay, so at our team meeting, we went over at the PCAR meeting. These meetings are incredible, by the way. Every month they're going to happen. So throughout the month, you should be thinking about what it is that you want to, who you want to invite to this next meeting, right? So everybody you meet, you should be thinking about who you want to invite to the next meeting. Does that make sense? Gary, say hi. Gary is in our office. He's going to be he's helping me with my books to catch up my taxes in between jobs for him. He's an accountant, and hopefully we'll catch our taxes up. Hey, Marina, how you doing? Marina's just joined us, and hopefully we'll get Tatiana to start chiming in too. So these things are good. Tatiana,
thank you. Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We want to send a big shout out to Tatiana out in South Carolina and to her team. We'd love to have you guys join us on the call. We will make sure to contact you in advance next month. Okay, so Marina, what we're going over here is bill pipes. We had bill pipes come through, and we're just going to jump right into some notes that I took. Felicia and Sean, if you guys could grab your notes and kind of get an idea of what it is that stood out to you during that part, right? So bill pipes, I took 10 pages of notes from Bill. So, I mean, it's or 14 pages. So, I mean, to me, when I go to these events, I'm learning. So the number one part, and we're going to jump right in and let, I didn't send out I did not send Ron the clip. So I apologize for that, Ron. But if you take a circle, you guys have all seen this chart before, where you take a circle and you intersect three sides of the circle, right? So you have one circle on top and one circle on the bottom and another circle on the bottom, and the three centers of the circles all touch each other, right? And so within those circles is skills, standards, and strategy. And that's really what everybody needs, right? We all need the skills, and that's where Sean was talking earlier about using scripts. That's the skills, and the standards are the things that are in your life that you're non-negotiable. So I want to read you his definition out, and Sean and Felicia, correct me if I get it wrong. Standards are nothing more than discipline, rituals, and routines that align with my goals and are non-negotiable. Standards are nothing more than disciplines, rituals, and routines that align with my goals and are non-negotiable, right? So what are we saying there? What we're saying is, what do we want our goals to be? What is it that we want to accomplish? And then we're breaking down, if I am going to accomplish that, what do I need to do? So one of the things that he put down as a standard was, how much time do you spend lead generating every day? Right? So this is something, Marina's been with me for a long time. Now it seems like forever. How long have you been with me, Marina?
Like since 2019 or 20, when I come to
2020. It seems like a long time. It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
You heard me talk about lead generation and making sure you get time to do that every day, right?
Yes.
It is something that I've always preached, and it's something that I have to remind myself of as well. So what Bill Pipes says is, and I've heard him say this in several settings, what he says is, if you want to have a business, you have to do an hour a day for lead generation. That's just to survive. That's just to stay in business. If you want to have a business that's growing and has growth involved, then you need to have 2 hours a day of lead generation. If you want to have a business that's going to thrive, that you're going to have breakthrough, and you're really going to succeed and have a great thriving business, then you need to do 3 hours a day of lead generation. You know, I'm amazed. We get a chance. Tom Daves moved into my office right next to me, and I'm amazed at his routine of getting on the phone and just doing lead generation. That's what he does. People for years have looked at Tom Daves. He was the #1 Keller Williams agent for 7 years running, right? You know what it takes? That's #1 out of 180,000 agents, right? That's a monster. And for 7 years running. And you know what? Here it is, even towards, what some people might be saying is a slowed down period for him. Even in this period, he's still doing 2-3 hours a day lead generation, right? Because that's what it takes to grow your business. All right. Sean, did you have any notes from Bill Pipes?
Yeah, so the scripts, definitely good to practice so you can create certainty with the people you're talking to. Another thing before you're calling, you have your scripts there in case you go off track. But before talking to people, think about empathy. So what do you like about the person, appreciate about the person? How are you similar? What problems can I solve?
Right.
And then my opinion equals BS. So you have to quote an outside source, be familiar with local market, national market. So then you're not just seeming like you're trying to sell them on something, you're giving them actual data to go off of. And then stop creating motivation when it's not there. I know a lot of times with leads, you just keep following up. There's no motivation. So, move on to someone who is more motivated.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I really like that one. Brent has always said the reason you spend so much time on these people is because you don't have enough people. The reason you're working with the people that aren't motivated is because you don't have enough people. And so that is a very good point. All right. Another one that stood out to me was that we get paid. What we get paid to do is talk. We get paid to talk, right? So the better I can communicate, the more influence I have, and the more I get paid. So the better I'm able to communicate my thoughts and strategies and ideas and the state of the market, the better I'm able to communicate that in such a way that gives the people confidence, like what you said there, Sean, then the more I get paid. Felicia, what's an idea that stood out to you?
Pretty much everything that Sean talked about. But my thing is basically, I'm just going to dumb it down to no excuses, and I forgot what it was, because we ourselves get in the way of like what needs to get done, execution. We always have all these excuses or reasons why, oh, I'm not going to do this because of this, or I'm not going to do that. No, just shut up and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
he said that people who smile have more influence, right? So just flat out, that's where you do have to sometimes we're like, be yourself. Well, if yourself is not very exciting and yourself never smiles, then don't be yourself. Be a person that has some pizzazz. If you have to fake that a little bit, it's okay. When you get in front of somebody, you go on stage to some degree. There is a little bit of don't be yourself if yourself is, shy and hesitant and stuff like that. You have to push yourself. People want to be led, and they do not want to be led by someone who they perceive as not very effective. So a big smile goes a long ways. I think Marina sees this often. People respond to Marina because she has a lot of energy, right? Half the time they might not even understand what she says, but they respond to the energy, right? They know that she has their best interest because she's responding that way. Isn't that right, Marina?
Yeah, and I want to share something.
Yeah.
Last week we had big Slavic community yarmarka. It's like 1,000 people.
Wow.
And I was singing. It was a big challenge for me because I did not sing for the public for more than 10 years.
I want to go hear you sing. I wish you had invited us. Did you get it on tape? Did you?
Yeah, I have my mom, she did a video, but I talk with lots of people after that because they all come to me and we start from the singing and end with the real estate. So it was a big challenge, and I like to do this challenge for myself, to do something that I'm afraid to do.
Yeah, what people are responding to is that you took that step and you had the confidence in yourself, and they want to be around people that are confident. And I can't think of anything that takes more confidence than to sing, especially today with all the, you want to be a star shows and idol shows. I mean, everybody's a critic, right? And so thank you. I would love to see that video. We'd love to get a clip of that. Okay. Can you do that and bring it to next week's meeting?
Video? No,
yeah,
I'm just gonna send
I want you to send it to Ron so that he can play some of it for us next week. I mean, not at the week. every 2 weeks we have this meeting. So I want
it's very bad quality. Like my mom, she's very good videographer. It's so bad quality, so you just can hear my voice. So I can send it to you, and then like you can send it to.
All right, just send it to me then. That's fine. All right,
Okay.
so that is awesome, Marina. I'm so glad that you got a chance to jump on a stage. I think the world needs to hear you sing. I've heard you sing, and you are very good. So I believe, we don't have Tracy on here, but I think Tracy would be a good example of this next phrase here. He said that you need to know what to say and how to say it, right? And so that's where the scripting comes in. That's where practicing in front of someone, making calls in front of someone really makes a big difference. You need to know what to say and how to say it. What is there, and these, we get into those empathy questions, and Sean had this. I really need to work on empathy. He listed some areas, and the area that I needed to work on the most probably was empathy. I have energy for the most part. My wife this morning said, "You're a little much." So she because I came in from the gym and she's just waking up, and I've been out working, I've been out playing tennis, and I'm just there, and I'm alive. And she's like, "You're a little much in the morning." So I have enough energy, and I smile sometimes. I laugh a lot, I think. Hopefully other people think that too. But empathy is something. So what do I like about this person? What do I appreciate? What can I find in them to appreciate, even if I don't like everything about them, right? And then what's their problem and how can I solve it? I'm pretty good at that last part. I move straight to that too often though, and go straight to the what's their problem issue. Speak with a downswing. The talking with a downswing is basically the way you put the emphasis on the words. And so when you have an upswing, a lot of times that creates doubt, right? So if you tell somebody, hey, we're going to the park, right? This is basic neuro-linguistic programming, and it has to do with how you speak. Definitely, you don't want to have that upswing. I think we recognize that one more than the other one. So you don't want to say, hey, do you want to go to the park? And you kind of leave it as an upswing and you make it into a question rather than a statement.
I think as professionals also, though, I mean, people look at us to take lead, right? They may not have as much experience. And so speaking in that confidence, but while also giving them control, I think is kind of what I'm hearing you say. Like, this is a great time to buy because home prices are going to be moving forward. But, it's an individual, decision on where you are. Anyway, now I'm stumped.
So we'll get the copy of Bill Pipes' training. It was really some of the best training we've had at PCAR, I think, in a long time. So we'll move on to another point. He said, he quoted another guy and he says, it's the agent, it's the knowledgeable and informed salesperson that is going to own the market. And this gets into what Sean was saying earlier, is you should have a knowledge of what's going on. You should spend 10 minutes a day. And he named off a couple of that we already use. He named Keeping Current Matters. Have you looked at the monthly update? They come out with a monthly update every month. Most of you all have access to my account. If you need access, we can give it to you for going in and looking at their monthly update and just seeing what they're saying the market is doing. That's a great way to do it. He talked about Altos research. I don't have access to that yet. In your MLS, there's data and trends graphic that give you some information. So start spending a little bit of time studying the market. I'll give you an example. This morning, I have a client who wants to buy some property, wants it to cash flow. So what does it take to cash flow a investment property right now? Well, you guys know what a cap rate is. It's the income divided by the purchase price. And so right now, if you want to include management, then you need to have that cap rate at around 8.5%. So I know that because I did the math on it this morning. I studied it, right? So when I call and talk to a client about investing, I know what that is. I know that right now for an investor, the interest rate's around 7.3, right? So for an investor, he puts down 25%. I mean, at 7.6 right now for an investor that puts down 20%. It's 7.3 if he puts down 25%, right? So just having an idea of what that is, how's that translate? Well, every $10,000 is going to be $85 a month if he puts down 25%, and it's going to be $90 a month if he puts down 20%. So see how I'm able to walk them through that conversation? That gives you a lot of confidence that I know what I'm talking about, right? And so when you're able to explain things in such a way, they give you that confidence. Okay, personality. Hey, Sean, are you there? What's your personality worth? Do you remember what he said your personality is worth?
I don't remember that part.
So he says that your personality without skills and strategies and things like that is worth $44,213.
Oh, yeah. He said that a few times.
Yeah, where did he get that number from?
The average income the average realtor makes.
A McDonald's worker.
Yeah, that was a McDonald's worker. But they're actually both the same, by the way. The average income for a real estate agent is $44,000. The average income for a McDonald's full-time employee is $44,213. All right. So he kept using that reference as he goes through. And I thought that was very interesting. So guys, this is something that you need to be able to do. This is about attraction. And we spoke earlier about making yourself attractive. That's where these sales come from, is you need to make yourself attractive. You need to know the numbers. You need to know what's likely getting ready to happen. Well, I tell you what's likely getting ready to happen in the third quarter of this year, third and fourth quarter of this year, is we're probably going to see interest rates come back down, right? So the reason we're going to see interest rates come back down is because they're having a Fed meeting after this debt coverage. And if you look at the last 3 times we've hit the debt ceiling, the rates have gone up before the debt ceiling. And as soon as the debt ceiling issue crisis or whatever it was resolved, the rates dropped down as much as they had gone up. And so when you look at the data, you can see that. You can see that in 1995, the interest rates went up about a half a point, and they went down about a half a point after it was over. In 2011, they went up about a point, and they went down about a point after it was over. In 2015, they went up about a point, about a half a point, and they went down about a half a point. So every time it's been between a half a point and a full point that the rates have climbed right before the debt ceiling was supposed to be breached, and then dropped right after, right? So that's what you need to be telling your clients. You need to be telling your clients that they need to get positioned now, because what's going to happen when rates drop? So yeah, rates are going to drop. People are going to buy more houses. That's what's going to happen. And when they buy more houses, that means your inventory that's already tight is going to get tighter. When that inventory that's tight gets tighter, what's going to happen? The prices are going to go up. So for every buyer you have right now, you need to be having this conversation with them. So you see how it's not what I say, it's not my opinion. I'm going on and showing them the data. That's what Sean was talking about earlier, is that we're showing them the data and not just going through it. Now, this is the same thing about real estate agents, right? The real estate agents, if they're not having success, they need to be in an environment like this, where they're being challenged, where they're being given new ideas, where they're being given the language and how to talk to their buyers. And you need to be talking to them in the same way. It's not about come to EXP, come to EXP. It's about come do something that's going to work for you in this next season, because this next season is going to be incredible, right? What are your thoughts? What do you see? What do you believe? And so that's important when you're having these conversations. Find out what their thoughts are. Find out what they're thinking. Sean, anything else on that?
Yeah, find out what they're thinking, because they're going to have their opinion based upon the news that they get, and just ask them where they got that information.
Yeah, that was good. He said, where did you get what you get the source of your information? And then, okay, here we go. Here's one of those downswing sentences. Let me share with you the reality of what is actually taking place in our local market. Yeah, everybody hear how I said that? Let me share with you the reality of what is actually taking place in our local market. Rachel, when I put that emphasis on reality and actual, what am I really saying? What's the message behind it?
So what I'm hearing you say is that that there's a lot of misinformation being distributed, and there you go. I have the data to support my statement. Let me tell you the truth.
Right. So whatever it is that they said that may or may not agree with your narrative or with what you actually know as a professional, you're not telling them they're wrong, but you're telling them they're wrong, right? In some degrees, you're giving them the reality and the actuality. So this is scripting. This right here, that sentence is scripting, right? And so that's just you internalizing that scripting. And so that's why it's so important to know what they think when you're talking to them and where they got the information from, because you don't know how to guide them if you don't know what you're trying to work against. Okay. All right. And we're going to move on to the next one. Oh, I love this phrase. I've never heard this word. I don't know if you know this word, Rachel, if you've used it in your counseling sessions. It's called a carefrontation. Not a confrontation, a carefrontation, because you care so much that a carefrontation conversation. That's what he said. He said, I have to have a carefrontation conversation. All right. Do you know how, so he walks them through, do you know how supply and demand really happens? What happens with supply and demand? Based on what I've showed you, what do you think is going to happen? And then, so he says his first job is to get them to buy into the market before he gets them to buy into them. So it's not about you. It's not you telling them, Felicia, I think when I hear you talk sometimes, and I'm just picking on her because she's here in the office and she's actually making calls. So I'm actually commending her. When I hear you talk, sometimes you're saying, when you first started talking, you were saying something about, oh, I'm here to do this, I'm here to do that. Well, that's what he's talking about here is first you get the buy-in of them wanting to buy in the market and learn what's motivating them. And then you come in and tell them what you can do. And then Sean covered the best lesson of all. Stop trying to motivate people and find ones that are already motivated. Okay, here's another one is he drew a triangle, upside down triangle, and he put connection on one corner, certainty on the other corner, and closing on the bottom. And so he says that trifecta is what works with influence. You make a connection, you give them certainty, and then you can move to the close. Closing, this is very important to know. This is one of those definitions. Closing is having a conversation with someone to get them to move in the direction that they already want to move in. That's great. Closing is having a conversation with someone to get them to move in the direction that they already want to move in. And we're going to wrap it up with a great nugget that I have shared before, and I get laughed at, and then people start talking about bananas and fruit and pineapples and everything else. Dating and sales are really the same thing, just different outcomes. Dating and sales are really the same thing, just different outcomes. Almost every skill you use in dating is really used in sales as well. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, have a great day. Thanks for joining us, Rachel. I know it's an effort when you're on a vacation. We really appreciate you joining us. And then Marina, reach out to your team. Let's try to make sure we can get them on the calls we're going to be on this 2 weeks from now. That is let me look at the date real quick, just so we can mark it on the calendar. That is going to be the 9th of June. And I really think it's important to have a bit of camaraderie. We do too many things completely on our own. And you guys, we need to connect with each other and connect with like-minded people. All right. Okay. Have a great day, guys.